The flight had been routine until it wasn't. Row 8 was quiet, except for the soft rustle of a coloring book and the low hum of engines slicing through the night sky. A single dad sat by the window, his 6-year-old son curled against his side, small fingers wrapped around his sleeve. He looked like any other tired father, jeans slightly worn, flannel shirt faded from too many washes, eyes carrying the weight of long workdays and longer nights. No one noticed him when they boarded. No one paid attention when he gently buckled his son in, whispering promises about visiting the ocean. And no one expected him to be the calmest person on that plane when everything went wrong. It started with a violent shudder. The cabin lights flickered. A deep metallic bang echoed through the fuselage, followed by a silence so unnatural it felt like the sky itself had stopped breathing. Then came the unmistakable sound, one engine winding down. Passengers gasped. Oxygen masks trembled in their compartments but didn't deploy. A flight attendant's steady smile cracked for just a second before training snapped it back into place. The captain's voice came over the intercom, tight but controlled. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing an engine failure. Please remain seated. Remain seated." As if that could steady the sudden drop in altitude. As if that could quiet the crying that erupted from the back rows. The single dad in row 8 didn't panic. He pulled his son closer and whispered, "Hey buddy, remember what we practiced?" Slow breaths. But his eyes weren't on his child. They were on the wing. Moments later, a second explosion thundered through the aircraft. Louder. Closer. The plane lurched sideways, and this time, screams overtook the cabin. The captain came back on, and now there was no disguising the urgency. "Mayday! Mayday! Dual engine failure. Attempting glide protocol. Dual engine failure." At 28,000 feet. Unbeknownst to most onboard, 2 fighter jets had already been scrambled from a nearby base. Within minutes, they flanked the crippled airliner, sleek gray guardians cutting through the dark. Inside the cockpit, alarms blared. The pilots were fighting physics itself, trying to convert a falling metal tube into a glider. Then something unusual happened. One of the fighter pilots radioed in. "We're alongside. Captain, do you have anyone on board with advanced flight experience? Military background. We need every edge." It was a desperate question. The flight attendant moved down the aisle, voice shaking but loud. "Is there anyone here with military aviation experience? Anyone who can assist?" Silence. Then, slowly, the man in row 8 raised his hand. Not dramatically. Not urgently. Just calmly. "I can help," he said. The attendant stared. "Sir." He gently handed his son the coloring book. "Stay brave for me." Minutes later, he was in the cockpit. The captain's eyes widened when he saw the tattoo on the man's forearm, a faded insignia, unmistakable to those who knew. The call sign etched beneath it. "Retired," the single dad said quietly. "But I flew F-18s for 12 years. Outside, one of the fighter pilots radioed again. "We're reading unstable pitch. Captain, who's in there with you?" The co-pilot swallowed, glancing at the quiet man now scanning instruments with sharp, practiced focus. "You're not going to believe this," he muttered into the mic. "But you might know his call sign." There was a pause. Then the question crackled over the radio. "Sir, what's your call sign?" For the first time since leaving row 8, the single dad allowed